Sunlight brushed a calm tableau over the waters of the Pacific, where sailors shared stories and laughter amid the haze of morning cigarettes. The tranquility was shattered by a distant, growing hum, the unmistakable drone of approaching aircraft. The sailors at Pearl Harbor couldn't fathom the horror awaiting them as their peaceful morning was abruptly torn asunder. Metallic shrieks and the thunderous roar of exploding bombs echoed, engulfing the scene. The imposing USS West Virginia swiftly found itself in the crosshairs, besieged by a barrage of bombs and torpedoes that tore through its sturdy decks. Ash-covered sailors valiantly fought against the relentless advance of flames. Torn steel allowed water to rush in, and desperate hands worked to stem the flood, their fingers raw and bloodied. The acrid scent of burning salt water, oil, and seared flesh created a nightmarish experience that would haunt the survivors for the rest of their lives. Gunners fired skyward at the swarm of Japanese warplanes, but the West Virginia groaned and shuddered under the assault. Despite her valiant resistance, the once proud ship succumbed, settling mournfully into the shallow embrace of the harbor. Yet, like the indomitable American spirit, the colossal warship would rise again. Before the war's end, the USS West Virginia, a pinnacle achievement of the Colorado-class battleships, would exact vengeance on those who had sunk her. The Colorado class, a landmark in American naval design, drew inspiration from the earlier Tennessee class, but surpassed it in several aspects, notably in firepower. With 8 formidable 16-inch guns, these battleships stood in a league of their own, rivaled only by a few contemporaries like Britain's Nelson class. Crafted with a focus on resilience, the Colorado class featured enhanced armor, safeguarding critical areas such as magazines and engine compartments. This emphasis on durability was a response to the escalating potency of naval guns, ensuring these battleships could endure onslaughts from adversary ships of comparable caliber. While the Colorado class showcased innovation in various aspects, it retained design elements reminiscent of the Tennessee class, prompting some critiques. Within naval circles, a faction argued for a more radical departure in design to create a groundbreaking class. However, the U.S. Navy adhered to a clear vision of evolving towards a uniform battleship paradigm. The decision aimed at maintaining consistency in characteristics like speed, weaponry, and protection within the same class. This approach sought to streamline logistics, training, and tactics, a crucial consideration for potential global confrontations. The USS West Virginia, constructed with the strength of a fortress and armed with formidable firepower, had its keel laid on April 12, 1920, and was officially commissioned on December 1, 1923. An emblem of naval supremacy in its era, it stood as an apex predator. As the world approached another global conflict, the Colorado-class battleship found itself navigating waters filled with emerging and potent adversaries. The years leading up to World War II saw the USS West Virginia, affectionately termed the WWII by her crew, experiencing peace and calm, punctuated by significant events. Under Captain Thomas J. Senn, the ship faced a challenging moment early in its voyages, running aground in the Lynnhaven Channel due to mechanical difficulties. The mishap, initially casting a shadow of embarrassment, was later attributed to flawed navigational data, sparing Captain Senn and the ship's navigator from ignominy. Throughout the 1920s and 1930s, West Virginia participated prominently in numerous naval exercises known as fleet problems. These trials spanned the globe, from the chilly waters of Alaska to the tropical confines of Panama. Under Captain Arthur J. P. Hepburn's leadership in 1925, the ship excelled in a gunnery contest, earning the revered Battle Efficiency Ribbon. The ship encountered simulated damages during fleet exercises in 1927, 1932, and 1933, facing challenges from aircraft and a tragic case of friendly fire. As tensions grew in Europe during the 1930s, West Virginia underwent subtle modifications, including upgrades to anti-aircraft guns and the addition of aircraft catapults. Discussions about a comprehensive modernization were held, but financial implications and technologically superior battleships rendered those plans moot. As World War II approached, the focus shifted to ramping up anti-aircraft defenses. While modifications were envisioned for West Virginia, only a handful materialized as newer warships enjoyed cutting-edge equipment. By the close of 1941, with the threat of conflict with Japan looming, the Navy worked fervently to bolster anti-aircraft capabilities. Even the fading glory of West Virginia received makeshift enhancements. However, fate had other plans, and these measures tragically fell short on the early morning of December 7, 1941, as the USS West Virginia stood tall at Battleship Row in Pearl Harbor, adjacent to the Tennessee. Just shy of 8 a.m., the morning sun witnessed the darkening sky with the arrival of Japanese aircraft, initiating a merciless surprise assault that would eternally be remembered for its infamy. In the eyes of Japanese strategists, battleships like the West Virginia held a place as primary targets, second only to aircraft carriers. The absence of carriers redirected the attackers' focus onto the battleships, vital components of American naval power. West Virginia found itself immediately in the line of fire. 7 torpedoes struck her port side, accompanied by 2 heavy bombs dropped from above. The first bomb breached the port side, sparking intense fires below, while the second hit the rear turret, causing devastating impact without detonation, but destroying a gun and damaging 2 onboard planes. Gasoline spilled, fueling a raging fire on the deck. Torpedoes relentlessly assaulted the ship, causing significant hull damage and impacting her rudder. Though caught off guard, the sailors reacted instinctively, seeking cover, manning weaponry, and aiding wounded shipmates. Observing the ship dangerously listing, Lieutenant Claude V. Ricketts and his team took prompt action, counter-flooding sections to prevent capsizing, a fate suffered by the nearby USS Oklahoma. Amid encroaching fires from the USS Arizona requiring evacuation, Ricketts and his crew persisted in firefighting efforts. Captain Mervyn S. Bennion was critically injured during the turmoil, yet he continued to lead and inspire his crew, earning a posthumous Medal of Honor. Untrained on the weapon, Doris Miller courageously manned an anti-aircraft gun, earning him the Navy Cross for his heroics. Despite the bravery and efforts, the damaged and ablaze West Virginia slowly settled into the harbor. By the next dawn, the fires were extinguished, but the toll was grim. 106 sailors lost, and the mighty ship seemingly defeated by the Japanese onslaught. Yet the tale of West Virginia was far from its conclusion. The savage attack dealt a severe blow to America's naval prestige, with 4 battleships sent to the seafloor and 4 others sustaining serious damage. In the aftermath, rescue crews heard desperate thumps from within the submerged hulls, a grim signal from trapped sailors. The toll of lives lost, wounded, and the surprise attack galvanized U.S. servicemen for retribution, despite a battered navy. Repairs commenced, starting with sealing torpedo punctures, and by May 17, 1942, the West Virginia was refloated. A meticulous examination uncovered 7 torpedo hits, surpassing earlier assessments. Heartbreaking discoveries during early repairs included retrieving 66-70 lifeless sailors trapped in submerged decks, enduring days before succumbing to injuries, dehydration, or hunger. As the Navy pondered the extent of modernization for older battleships, both the West Virginia and the California, having sustained severe damage, were marked for comprehensive refurbishments. West Virginia was now slated to receive the crucial upgrades she had long been deprived of. The overhaul encompassed the incorporation of torpedo bulges, cutting-edge weaponry, and advanced radar systems. The ship's superstructure underwent significant transformation, with critical components, such as the conning tower being either overhauled or replaced entirely. State-of-the-art air search and fire control radars were installed, and her arsenal received a substantial upgrade with an array of new firearms. By early July 1944, amidst the escalating conflict in the Pacific, the West Virginia was ready for sea trials. Following successful evaluations, she embarked on a shakedown cruise, setting a course for Hawaii in September, accompanied by 2 destroyers. Upon her arrival, she joined Battleship Division 4, and later, in October, proudly assumed the role of the flagship for Rear Admiral Theodore D. Ruddock, preparing for operations in the Philippines. The ship's rebirth had been a lengthy endeavor, spanning nearly 3 years, but the revamped West Virginia was now poised to seek revenge for the devastation at Pearl Harbor. Assigned to the bustling Pacific theater during the height of the war, the rejuvenated West Virginia found herself at the forefront of many battles. Equipped with the latest advancements, this revitalized giant was on a mission to see the war through. Her defining moment came at the Battle of Leyte Gulf in 1944, recognized as one of the most monumental naval engagements ever. As a key asset of the 7th Fleet, the West Virginia faced the Japanese center force head-on in the Surigao Strait. Alongside fellow American battleships, they formed an imposing barrier to halt the enemy's progress. With the Shroud of Night as her ally and her state-of-the-art radar guiding her, the WWII unleashed a barrage on the encroaching Japanese fleet. This relentless assault, combined with torpedoes dispatched by American destroyers, crippled the opposition, tipping the scales of the battle. The moment carried deep symbolism. Several American ships, including the West Virginia, once victimized at Pearl Harbor, now stood as avengers. Adding to the poetic justice, the Japanese battleship Yamashiro met its demise during this clash, having played a role in the Pearl Harbor devastation. The waters of the Surigao Strait bore witness to the WWII exacting her vengeance. Later, the West Virginia played a pivotal role at Iwo Jima and Okinawa, providing invaluable naval gunfire support. Her formidable guns obliterated enemy defenses, reinforcing the efforts of ground forces. During the Battle of Okinawa, with kamikaze pilots descending in fury, the WWII again demonstrated her mettle, fending off multiple strikes. Yet, during the war's final act, the USS West Virginia found redemption. Anchored in Tokyo Bay on September 2, 1945, she witnessed Japan's formal surrender aboard the USS Missouri. From her tragic descent at Pearl Harbor to standing tall in Tokyo Bay, West Virginia's odyssey mirrored the indomitable American spirit, marking the lengths brave souls would go to right the wrongs of December 7, 1941. Thank you for watching.